Hey, welcome back, everybody. So glad to have you. It's another week of Building Dreams, and SC1 Factories is the way that we get there. So, this is our weekly team call. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel to pick up the recordings that we put up every single week. And you'll even find that we've got a whole catalog of opportunity presentations that you can choose from to share with those people that you want to introduce to a micro franchise with LifeVantage. So again, tonight will be recorded. You'll find it on the YouTube channel, and you can get there through the QR code that is here on the screen. Every single Tuesday, we have this call, and it is the same Zoom ID and passcode every single week. Yet we are going to be changing things up just a little bit starting next Tuesday. Due to my school schedule and Dondee's work schedule, we are going to have a new call time still on Tuesdays, but this time we're going to be moving it to the morning. So it'll be 8 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Mountain time, 10 a.m. Central Time, and 11 a.m. Eastern Time that will be coming together for the SC1 factory calls every single Tuesday. Every single Tuesday. So make sure that you're inviting your friends, inviting anybody that you want to hop into this call. We want to have you on here with us live. And again, starting next Tuesday, our call time will be in the morning at 8 a.m. Mountain or Pacific time. And by the way, guys, we're going to be on Pacific time next week. So my head's still getting wrapped around this because all the rest of you crazies are going to be changing your clocks this coming Sunday. And so make sure that you don't forget to change your clocks and also change in your calendar that we are moving this call to Tuesday mornings starting next week. Call times are on the screen right now, and we will be making those posts as well into the team Facebook group so that you've got that. But it's the same Zoom ID, same passcode every single Tuesday, and we want you here, and you can invite your friends. It's party in here. All right, this coming Thursday night, Dondee and I will be doing a live opportunity presentation on Zoom that every single one of you are welcome to, and you're welcome to invite your prospects. We will be talking about how you can start your own micro franchise with LifeVantage, leveraging the amazing activation product catalog, and so much more. LifeVantage does so much for us to be able to build our businesses, yet having the right framework and the right language is going to make all the difference moving forward. Offering a micro franchise over a just an opportunity or over, a side gig or something like that. We're talking about ownership. And that's what this call tonight is going to be introducing to you a lot too, is really helping you step into the activated entrepreneur with your micro franchise. So this coming Thursday night, the Zoom information is on the screen. Take a screenshot, and it will be at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Mountain time, 6 p.m. Central time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Invite your prospects. We actually have Rick Mansfield that's going to be our host this coming Thursday night. So join us and bring your prospects. Now, Momentum Academy is just around the corner because this is March now. Can you believe that? Where did the first 2 months of the year go? I'm really not quite sure. Everything is speeding by so fast, but Momentum Academy is going to be here before we know it because of that same speed of things, right? So in April, it's the 16th, 17th, and April 18th. We will be in Las Vegas, Nevada. And at Momentum Academy, there's going to be a lot of amazing, amazing things happening. You can register through the QR code if you're not registered yet. And if you're not, why not? If you're putting it off, it just means that you're not serious about your business. We've got to get you committed. We got to get you at these events, because at these events, you're going to get what you need to be able to become a professional and build your belief. So there's going to be 3 different general sessions with all kinds of amazing presenters, which I know who they are, and I am not lying to you. They are going to be amazing. The topics are going to be fantastic. It's all going to be about breakthrough. There's going to be an amazing keynote speaker that you do not want to miss. There's workshops where you get to choose which ones you go to, and you're going to be able to learn exactly what skills, what activities you need to be doing at whatever level you are at your business. There is going to be an LV social gathering where you get to dress up in your best Vegas gear. So make sure that you are looking at the emails from corporate as well as the Facebook posts that they're putting on the LifeVantage US consultant Facebook page. And of course, there's always team gatherings. There's belief building. You're going to be able to see people on the screen, or not on the screen, on the actual stage, because we're going to be in person. And that's the best part, is being together again, right? But you're going to be able to see people on stage talking about their stories and sharing how they got where they're at. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, if this person can do that, then I absolutely can do it too. So if you are already registered, please let me know in the comments that you are registered. And if you're watching this replay, I want to know that you're registered. So make sure that you put it in the comments on YouTube as well, so that I can come back and cheer you on, because it is at events that we get to lock arms. You'll get to know everybody that you have heard about. You'll be able to go up and talk to the corporate staff, the people that are supporting you, and you'll be able to meet those upline leaders and even crossline executives, hear their stories, and just build your tool belt or toolbox with all of those stories, because it's phenomenal what you get from that. Awesome, Sue. I'm so glad to hear that you are completely registered, flights and room booked. Congratulations on being committed and ready to really run with your business. So let me look here. It looks like Dondee has joined us. So we're going to go ahead and move on into what I mentioned as the topic of the call tonight, the activated entrepreneur. All right, if you are an activated entrepreneur, I want you to raise your hand in the comments. I want you to give me your favorite emoji, and just really confirm to me and Dondee and to yourself that you are here for the right reasons. Okay, so we're introducing tonight a 6-week SC1 factory intensive. So this is going to be 6 weeks that build on top of each other, okay? This is not going to be a product training. This is not going to be hype. And this is going to be an activation of you, the owner of your own micro franchise. So we're going to be working on building identity, building discipline. Anybody here have an issue with that? Yeah, me too. So we're working on that, right? With the atomic habits that we just got done with the book, and with going through that all together, those atomic habits that are all helping us beat that discipline thing, and building duplication, because that's what this type of business is built on. If you want to build to a significant income or a life-changing opportunity with your micro franchise, we need duplication. Then again, building authority in your voice, posture, in your behavior, and building a real asset that will pay you over and over, and also become something that can be part of your retirement plan. It can also be something that is willable for generations. So this 6-week SC1 Factory Intensive is for builders, not for people that are just sticking their toes in, right? We want to help you jump all the way in, get all the way wet, just jump all the way in, do that cannonball, because you are a builder of your micro franchise. So Dondee, I'm going to go ahead and move it to this next slide, and you can hop in here and take over.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marci. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so fantastic. So why I like to call this the activated entrepreneur is, if you think about what an entrepreneur does versus an employee. So when you're thinking about it, if you're not really sure what entrepreneur means, or you're new to this, or you don't know whether or not you are an entrepreneur or not, what happens and where leverage comes from is the difference between an entrepreneur and an employee is leverage. So an employee makes whatever, or the leverage that they have consists of how many hours they put into a day, a week, a month, or a year, times whatever their hourly rate is, whether they're salaried or they're hourly, it doesn't matter. That's the leverage that they have. If you remember, we're going to kind of get into the next slide, is the B, not yet though. If you remember the cash flow quadrant, the E and the S are on the left side, the employee, which is the E quadrant, the upper left, and then the self-employed or small business or specialist on the left side is the lower left. So the difference between the two of them is a little bit more leverage on the S quadrant, but the E quadrant, the employee has whatever amount of time they put in times their hourly wage, that's their leverage. In the S quadrant, they have a little bit more. Maybe you, as a small business owner, you have a couple employees. When I was in my chiropractic practice, that was my experience. So if I put in 8 hours a day, then I benefit from 8 man hours per day. But with my 5 staff, if they put in each 8 hours, that's 40 hours from them and 8 hours from me. My business is actually benefiting from, or I've leveraged myself 5 extra times. So I get 48 hours in every 8-hour shift of leverage in my business. The difference between an employee and an entrepreneur is an employee will, in that 8 hours or however many hours they work, they benefit from their own time. Whereas an entrepreneur, especially an entrepreneur in a micro franchise business, benefits from the collective effort of a bunch of people over time. So the bigger the business is, the more man hours they put in, the more you benefit from it. So why activated entrepreneur as opposed to entrepreneur? Because entrepreneurs, people that benefit from leverage, oftentimes they'll join a business where the product or the service is an afterthought compared to the opportunity that they have. But the reason why this isn't the entrepreneur who is activated, but rather the activated entrepreneur, what comes first? In order to have integrity, and in order to be able to sell or encourage people to buy or to talk about leveraging what you own or what you have, you must first own it. You can't give away or recommend somebody purchase something you don't own. So the activated entrepreneur is why I chose that language. And I know I gave you a lot of backstory, but why I really want you to understand that you are the asset. And you are a greater asset to this micro franchise if you're benefiting from the products. If you are activated, then you've got a product experience and you're going to have an entrepreneurial experience, and that is the best possible scenario. So the identity shift is from being a participant in something to being an owner. An owner has more skin in the game, and an owner has more of what we call owner's buy-in, or what is also, I'm thinking of the name here, I'm trying to think of the name here. Forgive me for that. You have more vested interest in something. So the owner's mentality. Think about your own car. Do you treat your car better or do you treat a rental car better? And I know you have to fill it up before you take it back, but because it's a rental car, you don't treat it like your own car. So when you have that owner's mentality, you have that pride of ownership. And so the 6-week intensive, as Marci said, this SC1 factory intensive, over the next 6 weeks, we really want to prepare you for being a master at this micro franchise, this LifeVantage business model. And from product believer to micro franchise builder, the product believer has to come first, because you can't tell somebody to buy something you don't currently take or you don't believe in. That's just an integrity breach, and people will see right through that. And that's also not a sustainable business. But this is not hype. This is owner activation. So go ahead. If you want to add anything, Marci, go ahead. Otherwise, go to the next slide if you would. So here's kind of the resetting the stage. This is from last week. So the cash flow quadrant, moving over to the right side of that cash flow quadrant being the B, the business owner, and the I, which is where the collective efforts of people over time is where you build the leverage there in your micro franchise. That's our languaging. That's how we're rephrasing everything. And your LifeVantage business is now, I want you to look at it, set the stage here as a micro franchise, and you as the owner of that micro franchise, capitalizing on the leverage that comes with it. So the key here, go ahead and go to the next slide if you want, Marci, or you can add on too.
What I want to add on to this is if you missed last week's call, you can go onto the YouTube channel and find that recording to make sure that you are truly understanding what we're talking about with the cash flow quadrant and what a micro franchise is, comparing it to a franchise, and how LifeVantage can be leveraged for your business.
Absolutely. So here, I really want you all to understand that you already have the advantage with LifeVantage as your choice of a micro franchise model. And I want you to realize you're not in a side hustle. And if anyone has ever, or if you have, and I will be the first to tell you, we have for a long time talked about what's your side hustle, because everybody's going to have a side hustle. Or what are you doing on the side to make extra money? People that are employees that, or even people that own their own business, what do they call them? Side jobs. I've got a couple side jobs on the weekend. Well, just the name of that implies that something else is more important. If you have a side hustle, there is something else that is your primary or your main hustle. We want you to shift that mentality that this is not a side hustle. You own a micro franchise here with major scalable potential. In fact, you already have the advantage of being a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ. With that comes certainty. With that comes with belief in other people looking at it. A publicly traded company, as opposed to a brick and mortar or a privately held company, has so much more credibility because it has transparency. You can't hide anything in a publicly traded company. And we have 29 peer-reviewed and published studies on our benefits of our products. So we've got that going for us. The top of the line way into this business is less than $1,000. So the ROI, return on investment, your investment is $1,000. It's easy to get your ROI back, but the upside potential and the scalability of this is incredible. So looking at that, you already have the advantage just because of the company that you're joining. And if you think about employee thinking versus owner thinking, what does an employee think? When do I have to be there on time? What time do I have to clock in? When is my lunch break? When is my afternoon break? And what time do I clock out? And do I get overtime sometimes? That's kind of how an employee thinks. Well, owners don't think that way, because you're the first one there, the last one to leave if it's a traditional franchise or a brick and mortar building. But in a micro franchise scalable business, who is my next business partner who knows people, who has an organization that I don't know the people and I don't know that organization? That's the scalability potential of a micro franchise. And so when you think about if you're a customer, let's say you've got this great LifeVantage opportunity, and we've been talking about acquiring customers for a long time. If you've got 100 customers, that's an incredible business, but there's no multiplication in that business, because if you are the consultant and you've got 100 customers and you put in 5 hours of productivity today in building your LifeVantage business, all you have going into your LifeVantage business of yourself as the consultant with 100 customers is 5 hours. There's no scalability there. There's no leverage there. But if you have 2 customers and you are the consultant and you bring in another consultant and you put in 5 hours and that other consultant puts in 5 hours, that's 10 hours. Even though it only yielded 2 customers, 10 hours multiplied over time is going to get additional customers and additional consultants and additional customers and additional consultants, which is why this is not a get-rich-quick scheme, but it is a leverage business. And so 100 customers with no consultants is a cool business, but there's no leverage there. But 2 customers and 1 consultant built over time is going to create much more leverage. So start thinking about, not from an employee mindset, but owner thinking. Who can I share this business opportunity, this micro franchise opportunity, so you can get into their network and their list of people and the people that they know and their network. And then the occasional activity that you put into this versus the IPA, income producing activity. It looks different when there's a potential to scale. And when we put this in relatability, an additional consultant brings leverage, which a customer, even 10 customers, does not bring. Even 100 customers does not bring. In fact, 100 customers, if you don't take care of them, will become 99, will become 95, will become 90. And if you don't continue to take care of them, now we have groundbreaking products. People tend to stay on our products, but there's always attrition, no matter what. So if you stop the momentum and you hit diamond, and we see this all the time, go from diamond back down to emerald, back down to eventually onyx if you don't keep building it, because there's no leverage. That's really the issue here, is you own a micro franchise with leverage potential, and it's an asset, not necessarily a transaction is creating a customer sale, but an asset is building something that continues to build on its own with the scalability of additional consultants, which is why looking at this as a micro franchise, to create more scalability and income in a regular franchise, you have to invest in a whole new franchise. To do that in a micro franchise, you enroll another consultant and you just doubled your leverage. And then however many hours, and eventually it goes and goes, and then eventually it hits a tipping point. And that's the benefit of why network marketing is so appealing to the average entrepreneur. And from a hobby transition from a micro franchise asset, this is an asset. And what is an asset? Something that has value whether you do anything to it or not. And once you build this to a certain level, I would argue that most executive businesses in this company have a sense of leverage on their own. They actually, the people, like, you don't have to manage your people. You need to manage them and encourage them and support them, but they will continue to build the business with or without you. And that is really where the true leverage and the true scalability comes from in a micro franchise. And you already have the advantage with the company that you've already chosen to be a partner with, and that is LifeVantage. We have better than, and I'm looking industry wide, and of course I'm biased because I'm a LifeVantage consultant, but I look at the opportunity of 1, being publicly traded, 2, low barrier of entry, 3, the scientific validity, so we don't have to convince anyone to buy our products. They're scientifically validated, and the fact that our low barrier of entry is less than $1,000, and you look at our income disclosure statement, you look at those 4 things together, I've not seen a greater opportunity in the history of network marketing as far as I'm concerned. And that's really one of the main driving points and why an entrepreneur who knows what they're looking for will see true value here. So anything you want to add, Marci, go ahead.
You're killing it.
Right, so
we're just going to keep you going here.
All right, so this series is going to build, and this is the first of 6. So each one is going to build 1, momentum, clarity, understanding, and then hopefully discipline in your IPAs, your income producing activities, and your DMO, your daily method of operation. So first, again, establishing that owner mentality. And if you look at this picture here, going from a blueprint, which is what an architect draws when they see the building or whatever in their mind. They draw the blueprint, those blueprints are submitted, and the architect and the crew that takes on the job turns it into the skyscraper that you see there on the right. But it starts with a vision. It starts with the owner identity of who he or she is and where they fit in this scalable model here with this micro franchise of LifeVantage. But your income mirrors your identity and your belief. And so everything hinges on the belief or lack thereof, or your identity. Do you see yourself as an employee? Do you see this as a hobby? Or do you see this of what it truly can be? And I want to kind of share what I said a little while ago about what an entrepreneur is. An entrepreneur who is using the micro franchise model of LifeVantage is someone who scales the efforts of other people over time to create leverage that they can't possibly put in. I mean, even if you, as a solo person, worked 24 hours, you cannot get more than 24 hours in a day, even if you work every single waking hour. But if you had just 2 employees and they worked 8 hours and you worked 8 hours, you just got 24 hours of productivity in one 8-hour cycle because you've got 2 other people that are providing you leverage. That's where the consultants are. When you focus on consultants versus customers, consultants multiply your business. Customers add to your business, but with 0 leverage. And that's really the take-home message. And belief is going to precede your behavior. If you're uncertain, you're not so sure, you're still kicking the tires, your actions and your behavior is not going to be as solid and consistent and disciplined as it could otherwise. And then your behavior precedes your income, because your belief comes first, then your behavior, and then the income. And then with your income is where your identity is built. But belief is kind of predicated on everything. Everything comes down to belief in the industry, which I hope you have, belief in our company, which we're trying to help you get more of, belief in our products, which is second to none, and belief in yourself, because you're the asset. Everything starts with you and you're the leadership that you bring to the table. And so this whole duplication system, it's already there. It's proven. It's time tested. It's that ITT with the boards and all the other stuff that Marci's put together. We've got a tremendous amount of resources here to use as the system and the duplication system, and then believing that you can go from vision, or the blueprint on the left that you see there, to completion, the skyscraper, from the blueprint to the skyscraper, or from your list of names. When you reach out, when you execute, when you call them, when you invite, when you handle the concerns and the stuff we talked about a couple weeks ago, then you can go from a list of names to an executive consultant business using this micro franchise model of LifeVantage. But you've got to have the belief, you've got to have the identity, and we're going to get into that deeper and deeper every single week over the next 5 weeks starting today. All right, so kind of treat your business kind of like a scoreboard. And it was what I want to talk about, the non-negotiables. The non-negotiable independent or the income producing activities. So owners do income producing activities daily, whether it's 5 minutes a day or an hour a day. 5 minutes a day, every day, is going to create more consistency than 5 hours on Saturday alone. As weird as that may sound, it's the consistent daily effort, because it's much easier to build a 5-minute habit into a 10-minute habit, into a 15-minute habit, into a 20-minute habit, into whatever you have, versus trying to take a 2 hours on Saturday and apply anything into the next other 6 days. It's easier to do it daily. So starting with the invite, nothing happens if invitations aren't being extended. And then once you get an invite and you get a green light to whatever it is, expose them to some kind of information, whether it is a recorded webinar, whether it's a live one like we do on Thursdays, whether it's a video, whether it's just anything, literally wherever their curiosity is or wherever your passion is, or whatever. Say somebody is talking about having leg cramps, and you know that when you activate your body and you stay hydrated, you have less chance of leg cramps, and you're going to share this amazing product video with them. Whatever it is, whatever that expose is, really depends on the opportunity and how you're knowing this person and whatever initiated the invitation. But the invitation, then the exposure, and then the follow-up. What did you like about what you just saw? What did you love about what you just heard? What did you think about that video that you just watched? Whatever it is, leading them into a discussion, and then shoot for 3 to 5 exposures a day. Whether that's sending 2 videos and an invitation to Thursday's call, whatever it is, 3 to 5 a day. If you did that every day, it's going to compound, and it's going to compound, and it's going to compound, and you're going to get consultants, and you're going to get customers, you're going to get consultants, you're going to get customers. And then when you start tracking it like a scoreboard, you can manage it easier, and you can watch the progressive growth. And there's one thing I will tell you with 100% certainty: when you're building, or when your business grows, so does your confidence. And when your business grows and your confidence goes, so does your invitation, because you want more people to get benefit of this, whether it's product benefits or micro franchise opportunity to scale and make additional income benefits, whatever it is. People are being blessed. You're going to want to keep doing it. That just comes with invitations, follow-ups, or exposures, follow-ups, and repetitive nature of doing that. And then track it, because consistency builds and leads to intensity 100% of the time. Always, always, always with action.
So when we're looking at this screen, when we're talking about inviting and exposing and following up, and this is our simple system. This is ITT, right? And so owners do income producing activities daily. Basically says owners put people through ITT on a daily basis, right? So just follow the simple system. We're not recreating the system. This is just helping you understand that these are the activities that's going to help you build your business as an owner.
Absolutely. So here's the shift. Here's the pivot. Here's the redirect. Here's the mindset shift that needs to happen. This week, you don't try harder. You show up differently. You just show up differently. Change the mindset from employee to micro franchise owner, from having a little belief in you to have certainty and building your identity. You just when you show up as an owner, you just carry yourself differently, and you look at our business opportunity differently. When you look at it as an opportunity to scale and leverage the efforts of other people over time, it just makes deeper sense. But it's something you have to understand, and how you transition from being a participant to being an owner. And so the difference is you can be an observer. Think about a game when you just saw, the Olympics, you just saw the Super Bowl, you just saw some, the World Series not too long ago. When you are an observer, you are witnessing the game being played. When you're on the field, you've got greater skin in the game. But guess what? The player, no matter how high that dollar play, like the Dodgers, for example, who won the Super Bowl, Ohtani is the highest paid player in baseball on the team that just won the World Series a couple months ago. But guess what would happen if he decided he can't sell the team? because he doesn't own the team. He can't change what they sell in the vendor boxes because he doesn't own the team. He can't change the ticket price because he doesn't own the team. He's a participant. But there's something very different when you're in the game as a participant versus when you adopt the owner mentality, because the owner sees everything. And the owner can start by just a simple invitation, a simple exposure, a simple follow-up, which will turn into another consultant. And now that owner just duplicated him or herself. And when that happens again, they did it again. It's like opening another franchise, and you escalate that potential because now it's about the leveraged efforts of other people over time. That's where this entire model excels, and it's where this entire model scales, and it comes from being the owner and showing up differently. And then from activity to asset. So you make from making a commission to building an asset that's willable, that will start to eventually build on its own, from hope to execution. So people have hope. People that have physical issues, because nothing happens in our business if we can't solve problems. The greatest business with the greatest predictable success has products or services that solve problems. Marci and I just saw a video not too long ago of Kevin O'Leary, one of the guys on the Shark Tank. He goes, you want to build a predictable business? Find a product or service that solves a big problem. It's super easy. I don't know a bigger problem than premature aging and symptoms before your time. That is the biggest problem I know of as a human species. And another one following closely behind is what happens when you get old and you run out of money before you run out of breath. That's a big problem. And so people that need money and people that want to extend their life with better health, not extend their life and being on drugs longer, that's not what people want. So the two biggest problems that people have is living longer, healthier, and living longer with financial security. And guess what? We solve both of the two biggest problems out there. So according to one of the pioneers and the top guys on Shark Tank, the greatest way to build a successful business is find a big problem and solve it. And we've got that here. The question is, how many people are we sharing that reality with? How many invitations and follow-ups and exposures are we making every day or every week? So go from activity to asset, from hope to execution, and then from dabbling to building. And it makes, so your dabbling will go to building as soon as you get the next consultant on your team, because now you've got some vested interest, and it's not about you carrying the heavy load. You have a team of support that will help you. You can always rely on them when you can't rely on your own time, because your 24 hours in a day, when plugged into your system of support, again, the system magnifies, the system scales your ability. You're leveraging your support by also creating a business that's going to leverage your time. And then from wantrepreneur to entrepreneur. Every year, the people come out of the woodwork at the end of the year to find an opportunity to make more money next year than the year that is about to end. We just went over that. We're three months into the new year, and a lot of people are still wantrepreneurs, but they haven't found the solution or the home yet to become an entrepreneur. We specialize in that conversion, but here's what it's going to take. Identity first. If you see yourself as a business owner, if you see yourself as a micro franchise owner with this scalable, amazing asset here called the LifeVantage business opportunity, and you have that, you shift that identity, then your activity kicks in second, the income will come in third, and then you're on your way to building this asset. So who's ready to build this asset? Because somebody is going to build it with or without you, because the problems out there are still there. People are still looking to be healthier longer, and they're still looking to be healthier or to live longer and more financially secure. Someone is going to solve those problems. Why not you? So if you're ready, then let's get on board with it, because it will happen with or without you. Because if you don't do it, someone else will, and they will go find people that happen to unfortunately be on your list of names. And that's going to really suck when that happens. I know, because it's happened to me before. It's happened to a lot of people. And that's where the real opportunity here is that we know what we know. We know what the world wants. They just don't know what we know yet. But we know what we know, and we know what we have. And as soon as they know what we know, you've got your next consultant or your next customer or both. And that's really all this is. is exposing the information to people long enough to help them understand that the solution they're looking for is right here, and then simply showing them how to be your next consultant or customer, and then letting them know the built-in support system that comes with this publicly traded company that has 29 published studies to back up their products, that has a barrier of entry of less than $1,000, and we've been around for 23 years, and we're debt-free in acquiring other companies. That is the recipe for success, my friends, and we have it right here.
All right, to answer your question, I'm ready. I'm ready. Is anybody else on the call right now? Are you ready? Put I'm ready in the comments if you're ready to build an asset as an asset and start with your identity, then activity, and income. Let us know. You ready?
Yep. All right, so closing this out, this is for builders. It's not dabblers. Now, are dabblers welcome? Yes, absolutely. It's okay to come in here and kick the tires long enough, because most people who kick the tires, as Marci tries, or as Marci, the analogy Marci uses, is dip their big toe in the water. Once they find out the water's okay, they're going to jump in and do that cannonball that Marci gave you the visual of. Well, dabblers, once they understand what they have, turn it into builders. Or they stay on as dabblers and they watch other people go get what they want, and that's a really bad place to be, and I've seen it happen over and over again. But most of the time, what keeps a dabbler is uncertainty, or lack of belief, or lack of identity. And if you look long enough, you're going to find every key concept that is necessary using that Peter Drucker model of company, product, timing, trends, compensation plan, and team of support. We've got them all in spades, and we've got them. We are the best kept secret in network marketing. And so if you guys have ever heard of Todd Falcone, he is one of the industry leading trainers. I would call him Switzerland. He's not a consultant. He's not a rep. He's not a distributor from any company, but he trains top CEOs, top company leaders across our entire industry. He tells me every time we talk, dude, you guys have the best kept secret in network marketing. Even if you only had one product, Pro Tandem, if people could find out that this lowers the things that cause them to age prematurely and allows them to live longer, why wouldn't everybody who knows what the product is be on it for the rest of their life? If you're just looking for customers, and what person who is an entrepreneur wouldn't want to rep the company that actually turns back the clock and allows people to live longer in their bodies to fight for themselves better? He goes, you guys have the best kept secret. Why you guys aren't $1 billion company, I don't know. In fact, I heard him say one time, he goes, it's crazy with LifeVantage. If you guys, he goes, I compare LifeVantage to Russian roulette. He goes, you open up a revolver, you put one bullet in, you spin the chamber, you put it up to your head, and you keep clicking it. You click it 6 times and nothing happens. He goes, I don't understand. What is it about you guys? And I don't know the answer either. I just know this. The 2 biggest problems that people have, we have solutions for them. In every way you could possibly look at it, from every angle, we've got success potential in place. So the thing you need to do is commit. You need to just commit this. I am a micro franchise owner at LifeVantage, and I am going to go establish leverage however long it takes me. I'm going to share the invitations. I'm going to expose them to some information. I'm going to follow up and introduce them to my team, following that ITT system, and let the system work for me. But you got to commit first, then you got to show up, and then you got to execute. That's the DMO, the daily method of operation of income producing activities, the DMO of the IPA. And then duplicate. How do you duplicate? You enroll another consultant. You just duplicate it. Then when you can help them enroll another consultant, you just duplicate it again and again. And that's how this system works. And then once you've built that asset, then you turn around and throw the ladder back down and help your new leaders come back up so that your duplication duplicates. Because how you get to be a presidential consultant is, first you become an executive consultant. Then you throw the ladders down and you bring up all your ECs, all your C1s and your EC1s, and become MC1s, or the SC1s who become MC1s who become EC1s, and you let them all come up. And once they start to replicate and they duplicate the duplication, you're going to build, and you can't stop it. Eventually, it will get to a point where it becomes self-fulfilling, because everybody's still going to have those 2 bigger problems. And we still have the 2 biggest solutions. That's when you duplicate, which is why I capitalized it there. Duplicate the duplication, and then the support and inspire for as long as you want that to continue. And that's where I think eventually, like people like Tyler Daniels, for example, who has two presidential positions, him and his business partner, Marcel, they definitely don't need to be making 3 to 5 invites a day. because their business has been pretty much self-sustaining for the last 5 to 6 years, easily. So eventually, we all want to be where they can now just focus on supporting and inspiring their executive leaders and their support team, and that will continue to allow it to grow. That's how this system is built. It's how this industry builds leaders that is sustainable. And the key here with the industry, and if we look at it now as a micro franchise model, what person in another company would love to have a national news broadcast like ABC Primetime? No other company has ever had anything such a powerful marketing position that a nationally known and news broadcaster from ABC News is doing the spokesperson for us, and it showed our product was fantastic. That's how it started. No other company has that. No other company has world-class products with 29 studies published in medical journals like we have. No other company like that is the best kept secret on the NASDAQ, so it can be open and transparent and literally look from everything from how much our CEO makes to how many outstanding shares there are, what is the price per share, to what do we pay our executives and our C-suite people and our managers. You can look all down into that. With it, if you want to, as you should, if you need to, that is transparent. What does it take to become profitable? What is the ROI? Well, when the investment is less than $1,000, it's not much. And then when they look at our income disclosure statement, even if it's from an MC1 to an EC1 to a presidential, and they're looking at for less than $1,000 investment, if I do it 54 months or 86 months or whatever that column all the way to the right of our income disclosure statement, and they follow it down, I can make that much per month, not per year, and I'd have to invest between 250 grand to 2.5 million to make that per month or to make that per year with a McDonald's franchise. It doesn't take long. When you have the right understanding and you know what to look for, entrepreneurs who look at this dive right in. It's the people that don't necessarily know what they're looking for, that don't understand it. They stay dabblers until they see something to become builders. But this is the best kept secret in network marketing. And I'm telling you that, but that's not my original language. That's from Todd Falcone. And if you don't know who he is, look him up. You'll see what I mean and how prestigious his voice is. So to commit, show up, execute, duplicate, build your asset, duplication, and then support and inspire. That's how it's done. That's how you start with an SC1 factory. SC1 factories get you to MC1, MC1 factories get you to EC1, and EC1 factories get you to presidential. That's how this worked, is just duplicating the system right there in front of you. So anything you want to add, Marci, go ahead.
Other than let's go, right?
Yeah, I want to recruit myself right now.
Well, can I recruit you again? Let's. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here with us for the first installment of this series that we're going to be doing, helping you really become bulletproof in your micro franchise. Make sure that you join us next Tuesday. Remember, it's going to be a morning show next Tuesday, 8 a.m. Pacific, and it will be 11 a.m. Eastern, and the other two in between there, you can figure it out. But just remember, all of you need to change your clocks, unless you're in Arizona and Alaska and the other cool places that we don't change the clocks. So make sure that you change your clocks this coming Sunday, and we'll see you all next Tuesday. Let us know how we can help you while you build your business. We're here to help.